Hi and welcome to Active Bryant Systems. I'm Scott Bryant. Thank you for coming to my YouTube channel. And somebody really kindly has asked me to do a video on vegetarianism. So this is going to be quite a long video and quite in depth of the stuff that I've learned over the last couple of years about vegetarianism. Right. So first of all, I'm not talking about vegetarianism from a practice of that I've never done it before. I've tried it myself. I went and studied with CHEK in San Diego, California, and in 2012, and he's my mentor coach type thing, and he said to me I needed to reduce my meat intake and go vegetarian. So I went vegetarian for at least a good year, eating much less meat, and even now I eat much less meat than what I used to. But I have high amounts of fat when I'm not eating meat. So what I mean by that is I'll add coconut oil, beef tallow, lard and butter to my food, so I'm still getting the cholesterol that I'm missing out on eating meat. I still love a steak, I still love a burger, I still like eating chicken. I have lots of chicken bone broths and fish bone broths. So I'm not fully vegetarian, but in the summer if I want to get leaner, I may reduce my meat intake, or if my soul self, which Paul taught me how to talk to my soul self, says no meat, I don't eat meat. So there's a lot of argument about vegetarianism and non-vegetarianism. So my analogy is if you come to me as your practitioner or trainer and you're a vegetarian and you're in pain, I would ask you to eat meat. The reason being, if you're not eating substantial amount of meat and you're training hard and you're trying to get the connective tissue to join, maybe a vegetarian diet is not giving you enough of that, enough vitamins and amino acids in which to get the connective tissue to join. Now you may say, well, what about protein powders, Scott? Now most protein powders have got genetically modified products in them, have got soy in them, and have got sweeteners in them. Then the other thing is that when you get a protein powder and you mix it up and you leave it overnight, if you wasn't to drink it straight away, and you was to leave it overnight, look at it the next day and it would be all congealed and dried. And this is what consistently happens inside the gut. And if it's refined too much, the gut can't utilise it. But if you eat a piece of steak and chew it 20, 30 times, you'll just see it doesn't come out of the bowl as a piece of steak, it comes out as a poo. So your body has utilised all the nutrition in that piece of meat compared to a protein powder. The other thing is that you've got to remember is that how did we get here? We're nomadic cavemen people, and we are designed to eat meat, grains, not all grains because a lot of them are genetically modified now, but meat, grains, fish, which is still meat, and vegetables. Now, the other thing you've got to look at as well is that many superstars, athletes, movie stars, singers and stuff like that, when they're going for a big show, they will go on a meat, protein and vegetable diet only. And you'll see that, like, the guy that did Superman went on a bodybuilding diet of meat and vegetables. And you see how ripped and lean he was and how great he looked. So it's showing that having a meat and vegetable diet, that from a fitness point of view or aesthetics point of view, just eating vegetables may not be a good idea. So I've met vegetarians and I've looked at their strength, and their strength seems to be much lower when they're on a vegetarian diet than what they are when they're on a meat diet. So that says to me that if you're eating too much veg and not enough protein or fats, this could affect your endurance, your strength and your conditioning. But I know there's been bodybuilders out there that have been vegan and vegetarian and they look amazing. But then you've got to think to yourself, is that person on any type of drug? Or are they supplementing their hormonal system? Is there something else that they're taking in which to keep that conditioning? Or are they totally a devout vegetarian? Then the other way that I look at it as well is that if you're a vegetarian, you're going to have all your labs done with your doctor, And then you was to come to somebody like me, a functional diagnostic nutritionist, sorry about that, I get my words mixed up, and we was to do a test on you and everything was normal, no parasites, no fungal infections, no disbalance in blood and alkali balance and stuff like that, then I'd say fine, stay a vegetarian. But if you're in pain and you've got a beer belly or a Budweiser tumour around your gut, then being a vegetarian is obviously not working for you. But I know many people become vegetarians because of their religion and their belief. Now, the way that I look at that is the religion dictating to you, or is it how you feel dictating to you? So I know a few Muslims that use the gym where I train, and when they go on their fasting, and before they go on their fasting, they've got fat bellies. And they're devout vegetarians and not eating any meat at all. And then you look at their strength and their conditioning is not good at all. But then when I meet somebody that's what I would call a protein type, and eating high amounts of protein with vegetables as well, and fats and oils and stuff like that, they have good stamina, good strength, and in good shape. Now, unfortunately for me, last year I had some bad news. A friend of a friend of mine was a vegan. And I saw this friend 6 or 7 years ago. And I said to them that a vegan diet was very bad for you. I didn't agree with it. And I told that person why. They're now dead. So that could be just coincidence. Or it could be that they found that this person's body was riddled with cancer. And this person didn't tell anyone, apparently, until the last day or whatever it was. So that just makes me think that, and I had a debate with a vegetarian the other week, making a joke, so cows and pigs and animals like that are just for us to stroke and look at. They're not there for us to eat. But where it goes a little bit deeper, going deeper again, if you're a shaman and you do shamanistic practices like taking ayahuasca, which I know a few people that have done that, have taken ayahuasca and they can't eat meat anymore, because when they do the journey, the plant shows them lots of things and it awakens them so much that when they eat the animal, they can feel the emotion of the pig being shot or the cow being shot. If you watch that on YouTube, it's horrendous. It's not nice to see. But how else are you going to kill the animal? So the way that I look at it is that I've got nothing against vegetarians. But what I have got something against is that if you're a vegetarian and your health is suffering and you're not in peak condition, then that should be a wake-up light, in which for you to go, right, maybe I should introduce meat into my diet. Now, Sally Fallon, she's written a couple of books, so she's a doctor and stuff, and a nutritionist, and she writes in her book that vitamin B12, there's only enough in your system for about 5 years. Now, vitamin B12 comes from meat, and I think you can get it from some pulses and stuff. Don't quote me on that. But if you're not getting enough vitamin B12, that can be cancer causing inside the system. So we've all got cancer inside our system. That's been proven. We've all got fungus and parasites inside our system, but it's all about getting the balance right in which to keep peak health. So she suggests that if you have been a vegetarian, that you should introduce meat in which to get the vitamin B12 levels high, because you cannot get it from vegetables. It's not in vegetables, and it's in some nuts, I think, but you'd have to eat a shit load of nuts to get what you need compared to what you would get out of meat. So my belief is that, like Paul CHEK says, you should go to your primal diet and you should connect with your soul self. And once you've connected with your soul self, and if your soul says eat meat, eat meat. If your soul says avoid meat, avoid meat. Okay? But the other way you got to look at it, going a bit deeper again, I know this is a long video, 9 minutes long, is that when we die, and animals die, where do they go? Do they go to cow heaven and piggy heaven? I'm making a joke again. But what I'm going to say is that when animals die, they go back into the earth. So they turn into hummus. And hummus, not hummus that you buy as, you can buy hummus out of chickpeas. I mean hummus, which is like, it's like topsoil or something like that. Let's call it topsoil. So the animal goes back into topsoil, which goes into the ecosystem, which plants eat, in which to keep the plant alive. So really, if you are a vegetarian, you're still eating animal-based products because the plant is eating the animal that's died, that's gone back into the earth. So really, if you want to go that deep, we're all cannibals because where we die, we're buried, our skin, what do they call, rots, beetles eat us, worms eat us, maggots eat us, if you're not burnt, and you go back into the ecosystem. So I know we're a long way down, but obviously the worms will go through us and that would excrete or poo into the earth. So it might not poo when it's eating your eyeball, but it might poo when it's at the top near the plant. Or it might not poo when it's eating your eyeball or top near the plant. It might poo when it gets near the plant that's outside of the place where you've been buried. The cow eats, or which the farmer is cutting the lettuce from, which is you in the lettuce, so you end up eating human as well as eating animal that may have gone back into the soil. Does that make any sense? Well, it does to me in my crazy brain. So I just want to talk about avocados. So avocados are very high in fat, very high in protein. And this is where people get really confused, is that they'll be eating like a vegetarian and trying to get as much vitamin B12 out of their nuts, seeds and pulses. But essentially, if the vegetarian's gut is broken down and they've got a syndrome called leaky gut, then the body won't be utilising all what they're putting in anyway. So it's really important that you get tests done when you're a vegetarian to make sure that everything is at its optimum level. And I think somebody said that to me a couple of weeks ago, that they was a vegetarian, they had all these tests done and everything was normal. And I was like, brilliant, perfect. The first person that I've come across that's gone and got some labs done to find out whether their whole system is working fine so they can still keep being a vegetarian. Now, word of warning, if you go to the doctor for this test, in my opinion, whatever's going on with you, the doctor's going to say it's normal because the NHS in the UK is having a big problem financially. And I believe, I could be wrong, but some doctors are not being totally honest because I went through a big problem last year. I've rectified it myself. But if I wouldn't have had the knowledge and all the studying that I've done over the last 18 years from all these books behind me, I would probably be in a mental ward now and be extremely sick and wanting to do away with myself. But because I studied lots and lots of stuff and kept researching, done some labs on myself, I managed to find the root cause of what was going on with me. Because we all know within ourselves when something is wrong and something is not right. And many of us, unless we're very educated in health and wellness the way that I am, will not know what to do. So when it comes to vegetarianism, it's all about where did you come from as well. So if you're an African, I've seen in Africans, they eat a lot of chicken, they eat a lot of meat-based diet, more meat than vegetable, but they may eat a lot of rice as well, but the ones that eat rice are quite big in the belly and stuff like that. But the ones that eat like jerk chicken and all that type of stuff, and lots of it, especially the men and the women, if they've got broad shoulders, have huge amounts of muscle and look very, very good. So we're going to get onto cholesterol now and Physical Degeneration by Weston A. Price, Nutrition and Physical Generation. So cholesterol, the myths, is all about cholesterol. So a lot of veggies will go, oh, if you eat meat, you get high cholesterol and it's really bad for you. Now, when somebody says that to me, it makes me think, well, they're very uneducated about cholesterol. Now, cholesterol is released inside the system in which to combat inflammation in the body and bring down swelling. So you could have high cholesterol, but your system is under attack, and that's why you've got high cholesterol. Right, so then if we go back 40, 50 years, there was no statin drugs at all. There was no system of checking cholesterol, but we were living longer and we were much healthier 40, 50 years ago. And if you've got a mum and dad like me that are in their 60s and 70s and they're living a longer life than what people of my age group are, which is 47, it's because of the diets have dramatically changed so much. As in, you may be a protein type, but you may have grown up as a carbohydrate type from the 70s to the year 2000, simply because there's more carbohydrate foods than ever, and meat has become hugely expensive compared to carb foods. So does that make sense? So your mum and dad may live longer than you because the soil wasn't denatured. It was all organic. There was less pesticides and chemicals compared to what is now. There was much less money spent on food, but the quality of food was much better. Whereas now we've got thousands of choices of sweet, sugar, alcohol, and tons of different types of carbohydrates. Like if you buy a pizza, it's about 5% protein. The rest of it is all carbohydrate. And that's why if you're eating pizza on a regular basis, you can't get into shape because of all the carb. So going back to cholesterol, so cholesterol mimics the body and helps the body with swelling and stress and stuff like that. So really, you want your cholesterol to be high, or if it's too high, it could be that you may have inflammation or swelling inside the body that you can't see, that the cholesterol's trying to battle with. I've been working with 2 doctors for 15 years, and they were taking cholesterol lowering stuff, and I said to them, read this book, and they stopped it instantly. And now there's been lots and lots of information in the media talking about cholesterol and how the cholesterol lowering statin drugs are damaging the liver and kidney. Now, the way I look at life is that if you're putting a drug inside the system to cure something that is man-made, there will always be a side effect. But if you put something inside the system that's nature-made, unless you're allergic to it, you won't get any side effects. So if you're on an antifungal diet and you start doing carrot juices, for argument's sake, with ginger, you won't get a side effect from that. Or if you're trying to build your muscle after you've had a spinal injury and you want the body to build itself and you had huge amounts of steak and fish and high amounts of protein, that could help your body heal. But if you put a drug inside the system to do that, like a steroid, once you take the steroid away, your body will become weak again. The same as if you don't eat regular, you become weak. Does that make sense? Are you still watching? Are you still with me? 18 minutes in. So the next one is a great book. It's Physical Degeneration by Weston A. Price. A really good book. And in this book, it shows you that indigenous populations, they all ate meat, but in more or lesser amounts. So these are the indentations and teeth of people that didn't eat meat or had high sugar diets. And I've seen that in many people in the years that I've been working with people. And then here, these are people that ate according to their habitat, according to the tribe. So if you was in an African tribe, you may have to kill a cow, carry it home, cook it, preserve it, and eat it over a course of a month, or maybe longer than that. So indigenous tribes, as far as I know, anyone can correct me by commenting down the bottom. Oh, please subscribe, is that indigenous tribes, there wasn't people going, well, I'm not eating broccoli. The tribesmen would go, well, if you don't eat broccoli, you're going to fucking starve and you're going to die. So why have we got so choosy about our food? Is this sort of like programming from the media? Or is it programming from mum and dad? Or is it child rebelling against mum and dad, trying to cause them more stress by, I'm not eating jacket potato, or I'm not eating a piece of steak because I'm now a vegetarian. Okay? So the way I look at it is from a vegetarian point of view, everyone's got freedom of choice and free will. But if your health is suffering, it's something that you should look into. If your health is not suffering and you're feeling fantastic, you're looking fantastic, and you're achieving everything that you want, carry on. But if you do get a sign of a cancer or a disease, think about Weston A. Price's book when he talks about the indigenous populations around the world that he studied over a 30-year period that all ate meat and vegetables. Done lots of stews and foods like that that could last for a long time when they were going, because nomadic people go from land to land and tour around. You know, they didn't stay in one position like we do. Like, I've been in my flat for 12 years. So, really, I'm a lazy nomadic. I should be gone all over the world in 12 years, if that makes sense. So, with vegetarianism, it's your choice for what you want to do for your health. Remember, it's your death and your life. So when people come to me and say, I'm a vegetarian, what do you think? I go, well, why do you want me to think anything about it? It's your choice, it's up to you. But if you come into me because your health is deteriorating and you're in pain and you're stressed and you look 10 years older than what you really should look, then I would say to you, you know, let's think about whether you should be eating meat, chicken, fish, or whatever. But then you've got the other flip side of the meat industry and the fish industry. The fish industry is more farmed than ever before. So you're getting fish that's denatured and got loads of crap in it. And then you've got the cows that are being injected with bovine growth hormone. And they've found when the cow is injected with that, or a pig, that crosses over into the food chain, which goes into the human being. And if you've got a malignant tumour in your brain or in your lung or wherever, it can help it to grow. And you may be thinking, oh, well, that can't be true, can it, Scott? Would they really be doing that with animals? I was in Thailand, and when I was in Thailand, they had a pig 5 times the size of a normal pig. How do you think they do that? Or how do they get a cow from calf to adult in 8 weeks? Or a chicken from chick to adult chick in 3-4 months, I think it is. They're using drugs to speed up the enhancement of that animal, which then makes the ligaments and tendons weak. That's why if you get an organic chicken, you can try this. If you get an organic chicken to a processed chicken, especially the ones that are yellow, try and snap the leg on the processed chicken. It'll go kick really quickly. Try and do it on the organic chicken. You've got to have a wrestling match with it. You're sweating buckets. You're trying everything to snap that fucker. So it's really important that I think that if you are a vegetarian, my top tips would be take some really good probiotics, get the best vitamin B, B12, B6, or all the Bs that you can. Make sure you get some lab work done, so you're always checking to make sure that nothing's depleting and you're getting sick. And go by what your inner self tells you. That's what I do. So I fast a lot more than what I ever fasted before. I'm 47. I don't want to get fat. So the way I'm combating getting fat is reducing my food intake, still training hard. And I believe as you age, you don't need as much food because you're not growing at the rate you did when you was in your 20s. I know a whole body is a new body every 7 years. Well, they're saying less than that now because the science keeps changing. But I'm a real great believer in fasting, listening to your body. In the summer, I'll probably eat more like a veggie. In the winter, I eat more like a protein type. And I just try and listen to my body. And this is what I try and instill with my clients. So the person that asked the question, hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope it was insightful. Please ask more questions if you want me to cover something else. So vegetarianism and veganism is an individual choice, but I feel that you should ask yourself, why am I doing that to myself? Cows are lovely to stroke, but they're lovely to eat too. And if you haven't had meat for like 10 years, then, you know, great on you, but still get yourself not doctor tested, but get a proper lab test done to find out whether everything is in the place that it is. Because this friend of a friend that died, it's such a waste. It may not have happened if she was a meat eater and not a vegan, but we'll never know. So thank you very much for watching my video. The next video is going to be on opioids, which the government has now said is spending $2 million a year on opioids, giving that to people that are in pain. And what I think about, because there's a real problem in America as well, a lot of people are taking heroin instead of opioids because heroin is cheaper than opioids. All right then, speak to you soon. Thank you very much for listening to me today. Sorry it was long, but please subscribe, please share the video. Thank you, bye-bye.